Hey guys, this is Dennis, the founder of Think Hero,
And I'm David Griffin, your resident comic book and video game guru.
and this is our review of the season 4 premiere and
Yeah.
second episode of Boardwalk Empire, one of my favorite shows.
Right, yeah. New York Star, the first episode, and Resignation, the second episode. So
Yeah, the thing about the Boardwalk Empire is, I think you treat every season kind of like a 12-hour movie.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely have
like
to.
it's not like something that's like super fast paced. They kind of set everything up, and you know, so
Right.
it's not one of those things that's like action or whatever. But there's a lot of like subtlety and a lot of things that they set up, you know, and you know, in these first two seasons we see a lot of things that are happening.
Right.
You know, I mean, the first thing is this new character. He's introduced in the second episode, but we kind of see him come in, I guess maybe because we saw the trailers and stuff, but this Dr. Narcisse guy
Right, yeah.
that apparently is on a different level than Chalky. He's kind of
Right.
more on the level of Nucky.
Yeah, it's the only kings can talk with kings or something. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
What did you think about that whole storyline with Dawn?
Yeah.
You know, the one talent booking agent and his wife, and kind of like how that club, basically how he kind of maneuvered his way into getting
Right.
10% of the club.
And I think that's the whole thing. I think the setup in itself it wasn't necessarily that interesting, but I think we needed to get, we need to get Dr. Narcisse on screen. He's going to be I'm assuming one of Chalky's main, villains,
Yeah,
or I guess
antagonists.
antagonists, because Chalky's not really, Nucky's not necessarily the best guy either, but so Nucky needs somebody to go against, and Dr. Narcisse is this new guy. From Trinidad, he's our Trinidadian. But I mean, he's it's interesting. The setup itself didn't interest me that because Don has never been an interesting character. Besides, he's just kind of Chalky's boy, kind of helping him out, being his tough guy. But I like Dr. Narcisse. I think he's an interesting character. I think it's Jeffrey Wright's an amazing actor, so I'm glad to see him on here. So I'm just happy now we can see him because we've seen him in the trailers for so long.
Yeah, and you see he's very calculated
Right.
and smart, and even as he's maneuvering himself into getting part of the business of the club,
Right.
he still knows like that this wife of the booking agent is lying.
Right.
Like he exacts his own justice
Right.
on his from his own perspective.
Right.
Even though he doesn't
He doesn't like Pernsley or Donner, but I mean,
No.
he's at the same time, he's like, yeah, but this girl's lying too. Like, she
Exactly.
wasn't raped. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
he's not like letting Chalky in on it or
Right.
Nucky. He used it to his advantage, but at the same time, he's like, well,
Right.
you got to die.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
And then with Chalky, because he helped out Nucky last season. Nucky helped him get that club,
Right.
But now he's kind of seeing the problems
Yeah.
of owning a club. I'm sure, like in his mind, he was like, "Oh, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna have
Right.
my own club." And blah. But then he sees like, oh, he's got to kiss all these people's asses.
Yep.
He has to deal with problems with the talent,
Yep.
his own guys. You got Dr.
Right.
Narcisse coming
Yeah.
from side, grabbing a piece of the business, and
Yeah, I think he's realizing that he's not as powerful as he thinks he is. Like when he's with the African American community doing his thing, like he's the top dog. But with having to, especially in this day and age, I mean, the 1920s, he's got to, of course, with the white people too, and he's got to make it work. And Dr. Narcisse seems like he might have a better way of doing it because I'm sure Dr. Narcisse has to do the same things, but Chalky's just not educated in that way yet. I think he'll learn. I think we're going to see Chalky do some interesting things. I don't think Narcisse is going to steal the show. I think we're going to see Chalky do some
But Chalky, he loses his temper.
Yeah,
he
does. Yeah, he doesn't know how to compose himself in a meeting, But he's hilarious to watch. Just see it. Michael Kenneth Williams is awesome. Such a good actor. It's so funny just watching him just getting this temper tantrum, like, just get all like kind of like a little kid. He's such a good actor.
Yeah. Omar from the Y.
Right. Yeah.
And and then his daughter's marrying that one Tiger Woods looking mofo.
Right, yeah.
That's the doctor that helped
Right,
him out.
yep.
And he brought his family to the club,
Right.
and they were just like, this is like too decadent. This is
This is too much.
too much.
Yeah.
But so it's going to be interesting how Chalky's going to, if somehow Dr. Narcisse is going to drive a wedge between Chalky and Nucky, or if Chalky is going to team up with Nucky against this
right, because
him.
you wonder. It seems like Narcissus wants. I think he wants Chalky
Mm-hmm.
to do well. He's looking at him down there. I don't think he likes seeing the guy, rub his head for good luck or whatever. And yeah, I think Narcissus. I think he might try to team up with Chalky, but Chalky seems like he seems like he hates him already. So that's gonna be tough.
Yeah, and then we also saw in the first episode, Nucky kind of at least temporarily calming down the rest of the mafia families,
right.
with Rothstein, because he set Rothstein up to almost, go to jail.
Yeah.
And he had to sell out with what's the Italian mafia boss's name?
Oh, the Sicilian guy. I can't remember his name. Yeah,
Joe.
Joe. Yeah, Joe. So he's basically Lucky Luciano's boss.
Yes.
Because Luciano's kind of left Rothstein
Yes.
and gone over to him because he's, the guy Joe was getting on about, be with your roots, people that take care of you, don't hang out with the Jews. As bad as that is to say it, but I mean that's the whole thing. The rivalries, the Jews, Italians, they didn't get along, so it's really interesting to see that.
Yeah, and then Meyer is still with Rothstein,
right?
But even though Meyer and Lucky are still friends,
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So Nucky kind of closes the chapter on that, and then he has to deal with, Eddie, his basically his servant,
right? Yeah,
wanting to be part of the business. I think Nucky's just gonna set up these little menial tasks that seem like they're important, like putting this money in the safety deposit box in his name. I think it's just something like here's like a little thing.
Right. I'll be curious to see how serious this gets. Like the guy's smart enough though; he could actually be Nucky's advisor. Almost like the Italian version, of the concierge, in Godfather. He could be his advisor. He's smart and he's loyal. I mean, he knows what's going on.
Well, I think that's why Nucky respects him, is that he is loyal and that he keeps his mouth shut and he does those things. But I don't know if
took a bullet for him literally last season. Yeah.
But he is. I don't know how versed he is in the ways of criminal activities.
That's true. Yeah, maneuvering, financial stuff. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And then also Eli, Nucky's brother, he's dealing with his son. It looks like his son is very interested in the business. I don't think he really cares too much about going to school and getting a degree and all that stuff.
No. No, it's interesting. It seems like what they're doing this season is kind of just showing us the smaller characters and giving them, because they've done a lot with the major characters. So now, they need to kind of go forward, find something else to do. So we're getting some of the smaller characters, getting some more character development, spending time now with Harrow and his sister. So, I mean, we're getting more of that, I think, more character development with those characters.
Yeah, and then at first we didn't really know what Harrow was doing, Half-Face.
Yeah, he's just killing people. It's like, what's the problem?
But we didn't know why.
Right.
I thought it might have been some sort of vengeance thing or whatever. Then we found out he just got paid.
Right, yeah.
Okay. I mean, he could have ended just working for Nucky or working for someone.
And now it seems like he's got a little conscience growing now. He's asking people if they have families before he kills them.
I think it's the proximity to his sister. I think by being with his sister, he's starting to feel something. And now he's, feeling that because he's near family now, doesn't want to kill that one guy, can't kill the dog. And now he doesn't want any part of it anymore, but it looks like they're bringing him back in.
Yeah, they pull him back in. I mean, you can't stay out of that. He's too interesting of a character.
Yeah. The whole bootlegging business.
Yeah.
You have this new prohibition officer. He's like the head. I don't know exactly. I don't know, like one guy's the treasury guy, one guy's the head of prohibition. I don't know how he like fakes and pretends that he's like some sort of
I mean, he's like, he's crooked, but like he's acting like kind of like the guy he's working for. He's like, I'm a crooked. It's not. He was with a police officer in the last episode. Remember, he got shot.
Yeah,
he got shot.
Well, he's pretending that he was crooked too, and that he didn't know
he was taking
much,
money.
but he's basically
paid
undercover.
Right.
For J. Edgar Hoover, which is they have a young, like we have this young Al Capone, we got a young J. Edgar Hoover.
Yeah, that was. I didn't expect to see that this episode.
Who's played by this one actor, Eric Linden or something like that. He was in The Killing, and he's also in Generation Kill.
Right.
So they brought back another HBO.
A lot of HBO alums.
Yeah. It was good to see him in this role, and I'm sure he's going to play a bigger role in this, and how maybe they're going to try and use this to get to Nucky Thompson.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this is like, I think we've said this before as we reviewed this series. This is one of the hardest shows to review episode by episode.
Yes.
Because like, nothing happens, but then a lot of things happen in each episode. Meaning, like, stuff happens, but it's always just building and building.
A lot of subtle stuff.
And it's kind of hard to see until it all comes together.
Yes.
So yeah, this is a difficult show to
like
review.
last season. Like it was very slow in the beginning, but I mean towards the end, it
right.
Those last few episodes, man, were intense.
That shootout, it was great at the end. Yeah.
So it pays off. It's
Right.
just you have to wait. I think Boardwalk. I've mentioned this before. Boardwalk is one of those TV shows that pays to watch maybe 3-4 episodes in a row rather than one at a time.
Right.
We'll still keep reviewing them.
Oh, of course.
Time,
of course. Yeah.
But yeah, it's more of a 3 or 4 episode thing. Then you kind of see the arcs going on.
Right.
Speaking of arcs, we didn't see Van Alden in the first episode, but we saw him in the second episode. Seeing his home life of his wife spending the money.
Yeah, spending the money. He's trying to make it a home. I mean, you can't just buy a house and just sit in a chair. You got to have a couch or something.
And also, like, where his loyalties are going to lie between Al Capone and this O'Bannon guy.
Right.
And he's kind of stuck in the middle of both of them. And then Al Capone's story is pretty interesting because he gets upset that his name is spelled wrong. Like, he wants the notoriety.
Yeah, right, yeah.
His ego wants to be known. Most people in that business don't want their names in the headlines.
Right. I mean, he's a bit of a hothead. He's been under Turio for most of his life, so I think he wants to move out. He's trying to get his own crew. He's got his boys up now, his family.
Yeah, his two brothers. One of the actors played Herc in The Wire and Dominic in Entourage. Plays one of his brothers.
It's nice to see him there. I mean, he's trying to work his way up. I mean, of course, we want to follow Capone. We also want to see the New York guys, which you haven't seen much of Lucky, Luciano yet. Because we're waiting. These guys, we know Luciano and Capone become bosses. They move up. They're the heads eventually, but they're taking their time with it. I don't know how long they intend. I mean, we'll see how long the show goes, but I hope we get to see their rise, maybe a little quicker, because I want to see them get up to the top.
Yeah, well, I'm glad they're taking their time and that HBO is not rushing the show.
No, that's great, yeah.
I mean, HBO puts on shows that even don't get, like, super amount of views or ratings. They don't base everything on ratings.
No,
it's more about how important is the show to people.
Right.
Like Treme, not a lot of views.
They keep renewing that.
They keep renewing it. It's on its final season now. But if it was based on ratings, it would have been canceled after the first season.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But that show doesn't cost that much to make. Plus, it's David Simon. A lot of critical acclaim for it. Not as much as The Wire, of course. And this show as well. This definitely has higher ratings.
Right.
Than something like Treme. But it's not like Game of Thrones or how True Blood used to be.
Right.
Game of Thrones is approaching Soprano level ratings. True Blood before Game of Thrones, I think, was almost as big. This show, Boardwalk Empire, is not on that ratings level.
But it's not one of their lowest shows either.
No. But I think because people like me who love it, they know that people are willing to pay money for HBO to watch it.
Right.
It's because of the fantastic writing, the fantastic acting,
Yeah.
And you can see they put a lot of money into it.
I think it even costs more than Game of Thrones, like $7.5 million per episode or something crazy. It's huge budget for the show.
Yeah. And then we didn't see her in the second episode, but Jillian, we saw her in the first episode.
In court, trying
to get her grandson back.
Right.
And also, she's in this position now where her place doesn't have. She can't run the brothel anymore.
Yeah.
So she's not making any money.
She kind of got a brothel going on, if you know what I'm saying. She's got a little something going on.
A brothel of one.
Yeah.
But then you see Ron Livingston.
Yeah.
I don't know his character's name, but the actor Ron Livingston, he's come, and I'm sure his character's going to play a lot more into this, into the storyline as well. And also, Nucky going to Tampa.
Yeah, going to Florida, get some sun.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I don't know they didn't really discuss to see what the business moves he's going to try to make down there. And we saw in the preview for next week, he's just going to do some business down there. We're not sure what it is quite yet.
And we haven't seen what his romantic interests are going to be. At first, they kind of in the first episode, we're like, oh, this is going to be the new romantic interest.
But then he was like, nope, none of that, not doing that again. That ended in an explosion, so that's not going to happen again.
Yeah. He was like, okay, you can leave now.
Right, yeah, you're done.
Actually, he didn't even tell her. Like,
No,
it's other people.
He came in and told, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what we thought of the premiere episode and the second episode. You can post your comments below on the website and on our YouTube channel, which is Think Hero Pro. Make sure you subscribe to that channel. We also have a Twitter account. Mine's at Think Hero.
I'm at Griffin DE.
And also we have a Facebook page. That's facebook.com/ThinkHeroFans.